Improve your English with a dark tale. The Legend of Baba Yaga. Are you ready to dive into a spine-chilling legend and improve your English at the same time? This isn't just a story, it's a learning adventure. As you read through this eerie and immersive tale about Baba Yaga, the infamous witch of Slavic folklore, you'll encounter new vocabulary, rich descriptions, and dynamic sentence structures that will help strengthen your English reading skills. So, turn off the lights, grab a warm drink, and prepare yourself for a journey into the dark forests of Eastern Europe. The Forest Whispers. The legend of Baba Yaga. Deep in the heart of a forest older than time itself, where the trees whispered secrets and the wind howled like the cries of forgotten souls, there stood a small village. The villagers lived quiet, humble lives. They herded sheep, grew turnips, and whispered prayers to the old gods at night. But none of them dared venture too deep into the woods. For in those woods, they said, lived a creature both feared and revered, Baba Yaga. No one had seen her and lived to tell the tale. Some said she was a witch, others a demon, and a few insisted she was neither, but something far worse. She lived in a house that stood on chicken legs, turning slowly, endlessly, so that no one could find its door unless she willed it. Smoke curled from its crooked chimney, and bones lined the path to her door like warning signs. The villagers taught their children 3 rules. Never go into the forest alone. Never answer a voice that calls your name from the trees. Never, under any circumstance, make a deal with Baba Yaga. But children are curious, and curiosity is a dangerous thing. There once was a boy named Luca. His mother died when he was small, and his father was a hunter who spent more time tracking beasts than raising his son. Luca grew up with stories instead of lullabies, legends instead of lessons, and his favorite story of all was that of Baba Yaga. While other children trembled at the name, Luca was fascinated. He wanted to know if she was real. He wanted to see her house with his own eyes. One cold autumn evening after the harvest festival had ended and the village was asleep, Luca crept out of his home and into the forest. He carried only a lantern, a loaf of bread, and his mother's silver pendant. The trees loomed over him like giants, their branches clawing at the sky. For hours he wandered deeper and deeper. The forest grew darker, thicker. He felt eyes on him, though he saw no creatures. The lantern flickered. The wind whispered. Luca. He froze. The voice was soft, feminine, almost kind. But he remembered the second rule. Never answer a voice that calls your name from the trees. He walked faster. The voice followed. Luca, come home. It sounded like his mother. He ran. And then, as if the trees parted just for him, he saw it, the house on chicken legs. It stood tall and grotesque, rocking slightly from side to side. The door turned to face him slowly, like it had been expecting him. The bones lining the path clattered as he stepped closer. He swallowed his fear. The door creaked open. Inside, the house smelled of herbs and smoke and something rotten. Shelves lined the walls, filled with jars containing things that should not be named. A fire crackled in a hearth made of black stone, and sitting in a rocking chair, knitting something from what looked like human hair, was Baba Yaga. Her nose was long and crooked, curving down past her chin. Her eyes were yellow like a cat's, and her skin sagged like old parchment. But her voice was smooth. "Welcome, child," Luca bowed. "Are you Baba Yaga?" "I am many things. That is one of them." He took a deep breath. I want to learn. Teach me. She laughed. It was a sound like crows cackling. And what will you give me in return? He offered the bread. She sneered. I do not eat bread. He gave her the lantern. She shook her head. I have seen enough light. Finally, he held out his mother's pendant. Her eyes glowed. Ah, a piece of love. That will do. And so began Luca's lessons. Baba Yaga taught him the language of the trees, how to ask favors from shadows, how to bind spirits with salt and whispers. He learned quickly. He learned dark things. But each night, his dreams were haunted by the sound of his mother's voice calling him back. And every morning, Baba Yaga asked him if he was ready to leave. Not yet, he would say. One day years had passed. Luca had grown tall and pale, with eyes like the storm. He was no longer a boy. Baba Yaga smiled with pride. You are ready. For what? He asked. To take my place. And with those words, her body turned to ash, and the house's chicken legs knelt. Luca stepped inside, alone. Now the house turns still in the forest. A new witch waits inside. And sometimes at night, a soft voice calls from the trees, Luca, come home. But Luca no longer hears it. Or perhaps he chooses not to listen. The shadow years. Luca, now the master of the enchanted house, became a creature of the forest. The birds brought him gossip, the wind carried secrets, and the roots whispered ancient names. His eyes saw through illusions, and his ears heard the lies in men's hearts. He helped those who respected the forest and cursed those who did not. But darkness has a cost. One stormy night, a girl appeared at the edge of the woods. She wore a cloak of wolf fur and carried a dagger carved from bone. Her name was Mira. She was not afraid. I seek the one who calls the trees, she said. Luca stepped out of the shadows. Why? My brother is lost, she said, taken by something that wears shadows like skin. Luca narrowed his eyes. You crossed into my forest for that? I crossed into your forest because your house turned to face me. I was summoned. The house behind Luca creaked, restless. He hesitated. Then, against all instinct, he nodded. Come inside. Inside, the fire roared and the jars glowed. Mira did not flinch at the sight of them. Luca handed her tea made from pine and moon root. You're brave, he said. I'm desperate, she replied. He looked into the fire. What you seek lies deeper than you know. Your brother has entered the realm of forgotten things. Not even I go there lightly. I'll go, Mira said. Just show me the way. Luca stood, walked to a chest carved with teeth, and pulled out a map that shimmered like oil. You'll need a guide, he said, and a bargain. Then name your price. He stared into her soul. If you return without your brother, you must stay forever. She did not blink. Done. The journey they took was unlike anything Mira had ever known. Through groves that wept blood, across rivers that sang lullabies to drown men, over hills where shadows wore smiles, and all the while the forest watched. Baba Yaga's magic still pulsed in the roots. It tested Mira's will, offered illusions of home and comfort. But she pressed on. At last, they reached the door of hollow echoes, the gateway between life and what lies beyond memory. He's in there, Luca whispered. But be warned, you may not like what you find. She entered. Inside, her brother waited. But he had changed. His eyes were mirrors, his voice a chorus. The forest had taken him, reshaped him. "You should not have come," he said. Mira wept. "Come home with me." "I can't. I am the forest now." Behind her, Luca stepped forward. "One soul may leave. Only one." Mira turned. "Then take me. Let him go." The forest stirred. The trees groaned, and the choice was accepted. Her brother returned. Mira stayed. Back in the house, Luca placed Mira's dagger on a shelf. The house turned once more. A new witch lived within, and still the voice calls, "Mira, come home." Back in the house, Luca placed Mira's dagger on a shelf. The house turned once more. A new witch lived within, and still the voice calls, "Mira, come home." Ashes and antlers. Seasons turned. The forest thickened, darker than before. Stories of a new power drifted from distant towns, of a witch with silver eyes and a voice that could bend the wind. Mira, now bound to the house and the ancient magic within it, learned quickly. Her sorrow made her strong. Her love for her brother had sealed her fate, but her new purpose rooted her deeply into the soul of the woods. Luca, now her mentor, watched from the shadows. He spoke less and less, fading into silence until one day he was gone. No farewell, no sign, only a feather, black as night, left on Mira's windowsill. She was alone, and the forest felt it. That winter, a hunter came. Not a boy like Luca, not a seeker like Mira, but a killer, ruthless and proud. He brought fire and iron, seeking the heart of the forest to carve his name into legend. The house turned to face him. Mira stepped out. Her eyes glowed beneath her wolf fur hood. Her hands were black with bark and spell work. "You seek power," she said, "but you have no price." "I take what I want," the hunter replied. The trees shivered. He raised his axe. Mira raised her hand. From the ground, antlers broke through the snow, curling like the roots of forgotten gods. The forest awakened. Shadows rose in the shape of beasts, and spirits with hollow eyes gathered behind her. "You were warned," she whispered. The hunter screamed, but the woods swallowed the sound. When the trees were still again, only his blade remained, rusting beneath the roots. Legacy of the forest. Now travelers tell of a woman who walks between trees without sound, who speaks the language of owls and commands the moonlight. Children who go missing are found sleeping beside mushrooms and foxes, whispering stories they could never know. Mira is no longer a prisoner. She is the forest. And deep in the roots of that ancient house, where the fire never dies, her voice can still be heard. Come with respect, come with truth, or do not come at all.